was just working on my tiny food. I don't know why I'm whispering. I guess it just feels like I should be quiet, since it's so little.
Now, before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to another tiny food artist named Strawberry Puff Cake. She's going to take us through her process of creating a miniature banana. Today we're going to create a tiny meal of our own. I chose barbecued ribs, asparagus, and French fries. You're going to need to gather a few supplies to do this work. First, you're going to need a ball of clay, about the size of a golf ball. You're also going to need a toothbrush for texture, a toothpick or a pin or needle. You're going to use something to roll out your clay. I'm using a marker. If you're an online student, you may need a plastic bag to store your clay if you don't finish the first day. You'll also need a container of water if you're using ceramic clay at school, but if you're using the white polymer clay as an online student, do not add water to it. It should stay fresh the whole time that you're working, but be sure to store it in a bag when you're not. In-person students are going to build the entire piece today, so let's talk about some of the forms you'll use. You might want to use a slab, coils, a sphere, a block, a cylinder, and maybe even a dome. For my barbecued ribs, one of the first things that I do is pull off a small amount of clay and create a slab that I will turn into the plate that's going to hold all of the food. Be sure to attach all of your pieces to some kind of a container. You're going to see me press and flip this little ball until it becomes a little pancake. I flip it so that it doesn't get too stuck to the fabric or if you're using a piece of paper. Then I'm going to roll it out using the marker to get it as thin, flat, and smooth as I need it to turn into the plate. Next, I'm going to use a toothpick and I'm going to cut a circle out of the clay. I'll then smooth the edges and shape it or model it with my hands into the final plate shape. Each of the foods in your meal is going to be based on a basic form. For my barbecued ribs, they're basically a block, so I tear off a little bit of clay, shape it into a block. I'm not really worried about the details at this point, just getting the form as close as I think I can. I am going to curve it slightly because the meat on the ribs does have a little bit of a curve to it. And that, I think, looks pretty close. Then I'm going to pinch slightly at the edges. That's going to become the bones. Though you're only going to see me make the ribs, you'll construct all the different foods that are part of your meal today. Using the toothpick, I'm going to divide that space that I made for the bones into individual bones. At some point, be sure to add the textures that you listed on your planning sheet because those will be really important for adding realism to your work. We hope you enjoy creating your tiny food today because we can't wait to see what you create.